Look at her, so angry for what? Why are you turning? Yo, does anybody else's girlfriend do this just because I didn't want to buy her food?
Why?
Why
didn't you want pizza? Who doesn't want pizza?
Because we just bought groceries.
And? Okay.
What?
Remember that tonight.
Because I didn't want to get pizza?
Yes, because you didn't want to get pizza. Who doesn't want pizza?
No pizza, then no fun in the bedroom. This poor guy.
No, Alexander, he's not a poor guy. We have to start being honest and telling the truth. He chose to be in a long-term relationship with a woman because he's a gynocentrically programmed, bitch-addicted, blue pill simp.
What did you say, nigga?
Any man that gets into a long-term relationship with a creature that is solipsistic, self-absorbed and selfish, that is an emotional reasoner that thinks with their feelings and therefore has no morals and is a natural born victim, in other words, is never wrong, never at fault, and will project blame onto you for her own unhappiness. Any man that gets into a long-term relationship with that kind of creature is his own worst enemy. It's his own fault.
What the actual fuck were you thinking? We
can't say to single mothers, you have to take accountability for the fact that you opened your legs and let some dirtbag, some scumbag raw dog you and then run off and not take responsibility for the child. We can't say that single mothers have to take responsibility and not say to men that still get married and still get into long-term relationships that it's your fault.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Any man that understands female nature would never get into a long-term relationship. So let's be really clear about this. Only gynocentrically programmed, bitch-addicted, blue pill simps get into long-term relationships with women.
He's out of line, but he's right.
And the consequences of that are they are exploited and used and abused and cheated on, and if they get married, divorce raped or live in a sexless marriage. The percentage of men who win the game of long-term relationships, in other words, have a long-term relationship with kids where you are happily married until death do us part, is a fraction of a percent. Maybe 0.1% of men who get into long-term relationships have the kind of relationship that men get into long-term relationships hoping for. 0.1%. So if you choose to do that, you're a fucking idiot.
Damn!
You are chasing a 1 in 1,000 shot, a unicorn. You are a fucking idiot. Actually, you're not an idiot because it's not your fault. You're a gynocentrically programmed, bitch-addicted, blue pill simp. You are conditioned. You are programmed. You have a mental illness causing you to do that. So I take it back. You're not a fucking idiot. It looks that way, but once you understand why men do it, you have to recognize that the culture and their mothers and their teachers have made them believe that their value as a man depends on getting a woman, keeping a woman, and how hot the woman you can get is, or the women you can get are, and the woman that you can keep is. That is the problem. Once men realize that your value as a man and your identity as a man has nothing to do with getting or keeping a woman or how hot she is, then we can start to see men recognizing that there is absolutely no point in getting into long-term relationships, and it's actually much healthier and much better for you not to.
Correct. Thank you.
Moving on.
See, he thought he'd already made the payment. He bought the groceries, he planned dinner, he thought that he'd handled his duties, but in this culture that doesn't matter. Because women are allowed to raise the price, change the terms, decide at any point that that's not enough, payments are going to increase.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
Think of it like this. When women purchase masculinity from a man, they do it as a once-off payment. That's because men are expected to be rock solid, consistent, and unwavering. That's what masculinity is. She locks you down at a fixed price, and the obligations are set in perpetuity. There's no ongoing payments from her. But when men want to purchase femininity from a woman, it's completely different, because you don't buy femininity, you rent it on a monthly basis. If you want any of the benefits of femininity, then you have to make ongoing payments. The terms and conditions can get changed, the quality goes down, the price goes up, and all of this is excused because we don't expect consistency from women. Femininity is emotional and it's fluid, and women are so good at disguising what's happening. They say things like, I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm evolving. It makes it sound like it's this beautiful, natural process that's unfolding. But more often than not, it's not some delicate flower that's blossoming. All of the changes are for the worse. It's more like a piece of fruit on the ground rotting. Your payments, your obligations, they stay the same. But on a whim, she can decide that she doesn't owe you any domestic contribution. She doesn't owe you physical intimacy or even basic kindness and respect. And if you decide this is ridiculous, look, maybe this monthly subscription was good value at some point, but now it's clearly a ripoff, and so you try and cancel. But very quickly you learn to get out of this contract, to end this subscription. It's going to cost you dearly in legal fees, emotional blackmail, and character assassination.
All true, Alexander. Spot on. However, you missed out the one crucial part, which is all part of your framing, to keep feeding men into the gynocentric meat grinder, which is why I'm doing this reaction, which is why I'm going to destroy you and stop men listening to your gynocentric con trick. You missed out the vital thing, which was, we did used to be able to make a fixed payment for femininity. It was called a dowry. It was called bride price. And we did expect consistency from the feminine, from our wives. We expected them to perform their wifely duties as a wife and mother. For thousands of years, what you just said was absolutely incorrect. What you just said has been correct since we became a fully gynocentric, female supremacist culture and society that is ran for the benefit of women, using men, feeding men into the gynocentric meat grinder, using men's time, attention, labor, resources, and love to meet the childish, irrational, whimsical wants and needs and demands of women.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
It's only because of that change in society, which has happened over the last 100 years, and in particular over the last 60 years, and in particular over the last 30 years since third wave feminism, that now feminism is rented, it's conditional, men can really have no expectations from a long-term relationship. That's a really key point, is that traditionally, in all cultures all over the world, you could make a fixed payment and expect consistent femininity and a consistent performance of her role from your woman, until the cultural Marxist and
the people Kanye proved you can't criticize
subverted and corrupted Western culture, and now we have what we have. Moving on.
Let's be real, there is no equivalence in expectations between men and women in relationships. At least not relationships with these new modern women. For men, their duties read like a job description, masculine obligations that must be met. But femininity, it's more like a vibe, a lifestyle choice, an aesthetic. That vagueness is very useful to women, because when it's unclear exactly what her responsibilities in the relationship are, then it's very difficult to hold her accountable. Of course, it's always going to be obvious obvious when you fail, because your role as a man is clear. You miss a bill, you forget a date, you show weakness, then that's proof that you're not a real man. But how can you tell when she is failing when her obligations in the relationship are never clearly laid out? When it comes to the duties that men and women have to each other inside relationships, for these modern variations, they're never going to work because there's a total lack of symmetry.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
It didn't used to be this way because relationships used to have an unspoken agreement. Both genders have duties to the other. But in the modern era, while men are still bound by their end, a woman's duties and obligations are currently under review. You've already signed the contract, but she's still deciding if she likes the terms. In one of my recent videos, I saw this comment and it was heavily upvoted. The problem is women want a 1950s man while we get a 2025 woman. No thanks.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
Bravo to the guy who wrote this because this resonated. 1,000 upvotes because in just a few simple words, he described how so many men are feeling. That women have framed all of the traditional gender roles for women. Cooking, cleaning, shopping, mothering. Those are old-fashioned and outdated. They're like a prison, something that they have evolved beyond. But there is absolutely no symmetry. You are not finding any appetite from modern women to liberate men from their traditional gender roles.
How much do you think a man should spend on a first date?
$1,000.
What?
I don't know.
Why should a man spend $1,000 on you?
Because I'm cute.
That's it? Just because you're cute?
Yeah, sure.
Is it all about the money for you?
It's not about the money, but I know I deserve this, so...
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
The gendered expectations on men to protect and provide are as strong as ever. Throughout time, in all cultures, men are expected to be the wallet and the shield. And that's getting harder to do. On the one hand, you've got women saying, capitalism is ruining everything. Money, greed, and ambition, they cause all the suffering in the world. But on the other hand, they demand that men be wealthy. They only date rich guys. There's no sexual reward for broke dudes.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
Likewise, women will complain about toxic masculinity and men being macho. God, men are so violent and immature. But at the same time, she expects men to go and die for her. If there's a war, the men must sign up. They need to protect her. Go to war. Sacrifice yourself. They simultaneously demand the very thing that they're shaming. And they're completely blind to their own hypocrisy.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
In a culture that as a default demonizes masculinity, it's going to be difficult enough for the men to fulfill the traditional gender roles that they have always done. But on top of that, since the 1950s, the expectations have just kept piling on. Yes, men need to provide. Yes, men need to protect. But now they also need to do half of the parenting, half of the cooking, half of the cleaning. And all of this in the context of a culture that says that the very idea that we should have expectations and duties that women owe to men, that's sexist. A woman having obligations in a relationship, that's abusive.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
Feminism sought to liberate women from expectations, but not men. So everything is out of balance. Men's duties are now weighed against women's expectations. It's ridiculous. The sad fact is that it is not safe to assume what you're going to get from a woman inside a relationship anymore. When a woman meets a man on a date and she looks at him, she has a good idea about what to expect from him. She knows what he's going to contribute to a relationship. It's clear, it's sharply defined, it's in focus. Money and protection, the wallet and the shield. Plus, whatever else she can convince him to do as part of her redefined egalitarianism. But when a man looks at a modern woman and thinks, what role is she going to play in the relationship? It's blurry. It's foggy. It's completely undefined. It's like downloading a file that has no name, no size, no guarantee that it's even real. The man's role is assumed, but the woman's role needs to be negotiated.
Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone. Leave me alone, please leave me alone.
That's why you're going to see a lot more conversations like this.
It happened. A man asked me, "What do you bring to the table in real life?" I didn't think men actually spoke like that.
Ladies, I get it. It seems kind of adversarial for a man to say, "What do you bring to the table?" There's probably a better way to have that conversation. But please, show us some of that female compassion and empathy that you're so famous for. Understand that the reason why men are asking this question is because a woman's role is completely unclear. You don't get this because as a woman, you are privileged. You don't need to ask a man what you're going to get from him because society has already answered that question. Men have no idea. Is it safe for him to assume that you'll contribute 50% of the money? Or that you'll give up your career to just raise babies? Can he assume that you'll cook or that you'll clean? Or is that considered sexist now? In the modern era, it is not safe to assume anything. So I get it. Being asked what you bring to the table, it's unpleasant, might feel like you're getting interrogated or like you're being asked to prove yourself. But can you just show some kindness for the confusion that men are experiencing?
And this is where he shows he's either completely delusional or a dark-hearted, controlled opposition scam artist that knows exactly what he's doing and wants to feed men into the meat grinder. Women, can you just have some kindness for the confusion that men are feeling? What the fuck are you talking about? You yourself have just described how women are. Everything you say in your videos, including this one, demonstrates that women don't empathize with men. And we know why that is. If you watch my channel, you know why that is. Because the unholy trinity of female nature is female solipsism. In other words, complete self-absorption. The world revolves around me and my feelings. I'm completely selfish. Emotional reasoning. I think with my feelings. If it makes me feel bad, it's false and wrong. If it makes me feel good, it's true and right. And natural-born victimhood. Women are not responsible. They can't solve their own problems. They damsel, they cry, they moan, they bitch, they blame, and manipulate a man into solving their problems. Those are three aspects of female nature which preclude two things: morals and empathy for men. If you are an emotional reasoner and you decide what is true and right based on how it makes you feel, you cannot be moral. Moral is an abstract mental concept that requires ethics. It requires being able to say this is right and this is wrong objectively. Women can't do that because what is right and wrong for a woman is what makes her feel good or bad, respectively. So women are amoral, and female solipsism and natural-born victimhood preclude empathy for men. If you think the world revolves around you and how you feel, if how you feel means that you think it's justified that you cheat on your man, how are you going to empathize with how it feels to be cheated on? You're not. If you are irresponsible, if you can't take responsibility or accountability for what you say, what you do, and the choices you make, how can you empathize with a man who is crushed by the consequences of your speech, actions, and choices? You can't. And let me put it even more simply for you. Basically, empathy for men was bred out of women by evolution. Back in our evolutionary past, if a hostile tribe came in and killed the men and enslaved whichever men they didn't kill, and took the women and killed the children and took the women to be their wives, a woman who had empathy for the man, her man that was just killed or has just been enslaved, would be killed too. So the women who just basically said, okay, well, you're stronger than my man, you were able to kill my man, You win me as your wife. I'll be your wife. I will let you impregnate me and have children with me. And I will let you kill my children to wipe out the other men's genes. The women that had no empathy for their defeated men were the ones that survived, and they passed on their genes. So I'm telling you, women don't have empathy for men. And as somebody who has studied evolutionary psychology and biology, and somebody that understands the way modern women behave, for you to ask women to have some kindness, as I say, it shows that either you're completely delusional. What would make women have kindness for men when the whole culture supports them parasiting off men? When everything in the world supports them getting whatever they want without consequence, and shitting on men, demonizing men, discriminating against men, blaming men, using men, exploiting men, the whole system's set up for that. So you think pleading for women to have kindness is sane, is helpful, is useful? So the fact that you're doing that when you should know that it's ridiculous tells me either there's some aspect of you that's completely delusional because you have a woman for whom you are her first choice. I've said this before, but the only woman that can be perform wifely duties and be a loyal partner is a woman who has a man who, for her, he's her first choice. He fits the fantasy man, the fantasy Mr. Right that every woman has in their head. If you get a woman early enough, before she's slept with too many men, before she's been alpha widowed, and you match that fantasy, you can have a decent relationship. But that is the only kind of woman you can have that relationship with, aside from the rare unicorn that I spoke about in other videos, who is a 1 in 10,000 shot. So forget about that. But you can actually have a decent relationship if you are her first choice. And from everything I've heard about Alexander's relationship with, I think it's Emily, he talks about quite a lot. I think he has that kind of relationship. And so that might delude him into believing, despite everything he knows about evolutionary psychology and female mating strategy, that might delude him into believing that women are capable of empathy for men and therefore capable of kindness when they understand what they're putting men through with all their demands and expectations. So you could be deluded by that, but on the other side of the coin, if you're not deluded by that, then you are an absolute con man. You are deliberately making money, getting people to go to your Patreon, I'll talk about that in a bit, by speaking to men's pain, as you do in your videos brilliantly, pointing out that basically it's a completely rigged game, everything is against men, and then just when you should say MGTOW is the way, you always do the same thing. You go into this little spiel of, well, women, if you're just kind, if you just understand, and men, if you just do this and then you can actually find a good one and live happily ever after. Then you just go fairy tale out of the blue from being 100% or pretty much 100% MGTOW, pointing out why MGTOW is the only way to win a rigged game, not playing. You then go into this fairy tale realm where, no, if they join your Patreon, and if women can just be a bit kinder, it can all be fluffy bunny rabbits and rainbows. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, I don't want to ruin the ending because you're going to say something even worse in a minute. Moving on.
He knows his role, he knows his duties and his obligations, but he wants to know what you think your obligations are going to be. That's understandable, isn't it? When you act offended at that question, it turns men away because it makes you seem like you're one of those women who thinks that she shouldn't have any duties at all. How dare you ask me what I contribute to the relationship? Translation: I shouldn't have to contribute anything. I am a woman. My job is to receive and to be treated like a queen. That is obviously unfair. You must know this.
No, Alexander. Everything you've said in this video and countless other videos shows that women not only do they not know it's unfair, they don't care. They don't even understand the concept of unfair when it comes to a man. Jesus Christ. A man is a host. They are parasites. Do tapeworms think it's unfair for them to leech off a man? Do fleas think it's unfair for them to suck the blood of a dog? What are you talking about? How are you appealing to women's sense of fairness towards men when you absolutely know it doesn't exist? Women are in competition with each other to get men to give them resources. It being unfair on men does not come into the equation. What the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ. Moving on.
If you were a man, you would want clarity on this issue as well. Fellas, there is no need for us to be victims of this. Knowledge is power. You can do your due diligence. You can make sure that you are only signing up to a deal that works for you.
And so it begins. This is where he starts to steer you away from the obvious conclusion of the rest of the video, which is MGTOW, and starts to steer you towards his Patreon by giving you hope that despite everything he's explained, which says it's a rigged game, don't even bother, now he gives you hope that if you join his Patreon, he can help you navigate your way through this rigged game and end up at the destination of, I've got a unicorn, I've got one of those really good women that I can live with happily ever after, that will heal my mother wound and fulfill my programming and conditioned programming to believe that women are actually really good and loving and kind, and a woman will make me happy. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm going to let him do it and then I'll come back at the end.
Do not be ashamed of asking women about their values, their views on gender roles, what they think a marriage looks like. You're not shaming her, you are protecting yourself. You're not being cruel, you're being smart. And before you sign up to that monthly subscription that's so difficult to get out of, I really recommend take advantage of the free trial period. As a man, time is on your side. Our gender, we got the long end of the stick when it comes to fertility. Use that. If you're dating a woman and things started off well enough, understand it's during the free trial period before you've really made any solid commitments that you're going to get probably the best version of her. If she's a low quality woman, then your relationship is going to start to degrade the moment that you sign up. If during that free trial period when you're just dating or you're in a relationship but you haven't signed any marriage papers, you haven't had any children yet, if you notice that the quality is fluctuating, that the cost just keeps going up, then know that you don't have to rush into marriage. By all means, date her, move in with her, act like you're married. Observe how she is. So long as you don't get her pregnant or sign any marriage contracts, you can still walk away without any of those pesky cancellation fees.
Okay, I just have to point out a couple of things. First of all, did you notice that underneath everything he said, he's still advocating for men in the West to get married? Yes, he's put all these qualifiers and conditions on it, but ultimately, he's actually saying that if you find the right woman and you do the right things, you should get married. That alone should make him anathema to any red pill guy. Any guy with half a brain who understands female nature knows the one thing all MGTOW should agree on, or all red pill guys should agree on: no fucking marriage. And he's a red pill content creator advocating marriage. Oh my God, the more I see him, the more I... what was the other thing? Oh yeah. As long as you don't get her pregnant, you should live with her. Oh my God. Oh my God. He is so, thank you God. He is so wrong. He is just so wrong. He's just wrong. First of all, as I've pointed out in other videos, never cohabit. For so many reasons, but the main reason not to cohabit is the minute you cohabit, she knows she's got you. She stops making an effort. You're no longer mysterious or unpredictable. She's no longer worried about you fucking other women, and she stops acting right and starts acting like she's the boss. Never live with a woman. You're dead in the water. The minute you live with her, you're a beta. You're fucked. So he's advocating cohabitation, which I understand plenty of red pill creators will advocate that, but because they're only half red pilled and they just don't get it. And the other thing he advocated, oh yeah, as long as you don't get her pregnant. Oh, so if a woman wants you to make her pregnant, but you don't want, you're safe, are you? There's a way of not getting pregnant, is there? You think that using a condom makes you safe from a woman who can just take the condom and push it up her pussy afterwards? A woman who wants to trap you? Look how many single mothers there are. You fucking muppet. So long as you don't get her pregnant, you can move in with her. As long as you don't marry her, you'll be safe. I mean, that is just imbecilic. It's moronic. It is the advice of a moron. Please, guys, stop listening to Alexander Grace. I'll let him finish and then I'll come at the end. But honestly, it's just so wrong.
Just because you have it clear in your mind what you want in a relationship, what you expect from your partner, from a woman, do not assume that she agrees with you. In 2025, all things must be verified. And if you meet a woman who is kind and respectful, who can clearly articulate what she thinks her role as a woman is inside a relationship, and then walks her talk over a long period of time, then lock her down. Congratulations, brother. You have found one of the good ones.
I just threw up in my mouth a little. How fucking cringe was that? Congratulations, brother. You just found one of the good ones. Yeah, lock her down. Jesus Christ. He is literally feeding men into the gynocentric meat grinder. He is creating the 1 in 10,000 unicorn vision as though that is a logical, rational strategy to go for a 1 in 10,000 odds of finding a good one. So that's in itself is insane. And he's saying, yeah, if you find her, lock her down. Get into a long-term relationship, marry her, do the thing that maintains a society that hates men and uses men. Don't go your own way. Don't let society know that men are not going to allow themselves to be used to fund the capricious, whimsical, infantile wants, needs and demands of women.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
We're not having it. We are not having it. If you want men in your lives, you need to change the divorce laws, change all the laws. That's what men need to do. Go your own way to show the world that we are not simps. We are not doormats. We are not emotional tampons. We are not walking ATMs. We are not sperm donors. We are men and we have value. I'm going to put that network meme in.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Alexander Grace is doing the exact opposite. He's laying out the case for MGTOW and then twisting it into this nonsensical fairy tale that you should seek the needle in a haystack that is a good woman and lock her down and marry her. It's sickening, genuinely sickening.
Well done. Now let's answer this question. Should you tell a woman at the start of dating what specifically you are looking for? Or will that turn her into a chameleon and she will alter her values, meaning that you never get accurate data about what she really feels? This question takes us to some surprising places. It's quite nuanced, but for you guys who are interested in not just listening to the theory, but learning how to take these principles from my videos and apply them in your relationships in practical ways, you're going to enjoy the rest of this video because that's what I'm going to talk about. And you can watch it right now on Patreon. That's where you see the full-length versions of my videos. What you see posted here on YouTube, these are just the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. The full-length versions are available on Patreon.
Ah, you motherfucker!
And of course, that's the whole point of the whole thing. Men who go their own way don't make Alexander Grace money. you slimy snake. You would rather feed men who have been demonized, discriminated, cheated on, shat on by women in society for the last 60 years. You would rather feed them into the same meat grinder that's done that, as long as it makes you money, than free them from that by encouraging, inspiring them, and helping them to go another way, their own way, the non-gynocentric way, the self-directed way, where their lives are about them, making them happy, not making women happy, but making themselves happy. You would rather feed them into the same meat grinder because it makes you money. You
absolute cunt.
Oh, I love him because he allows me to make these videos. But the fact that he's so popular, and he's literally the Pied Piper of the manosphere. He is Pied Pipering men to their doom, to their absolute doom. And I just can't bear it. I can't stand to see so many men being fooled by him. So I'm going to keep making these. Every time I see one of his videos doing this, I'm going to make a video reacting to it. I can't bear it. I can't stand him getting away with it. So please, my brothers, if you agree with me, if you agree with my analysis, and you agree with me rather than Alexander Grace, please make sure you like the video, comment on the video, and share the video. If you do all three of those things, that will really help the algorithm say, oh, this video gets engagement. And we know a lot of Alexander Grace viewers, guys who view his content, so we'll share this video with Alexander Grace's audience. That's who I want to see this. The people who like his content and watch him slavishly and are fans of his. They are the men that need to see this video and the videos I'm going to make. So please, like, comment, and share this video. I'm doing God's work here, believe me. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.